All right, welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mac podcast here on 1010XL's podcast platform at 1010XL.com. The 1010XL app, of course, live on Facebook this morning. Good morning, Facebook. And it'll be shared all over other podcast platforms, all over social media. We'll take some clips. You never know what's going to come out of this mouth of mine and what goes on here, but we always have a good time, and we appreciate all the support brought to you by my good friends at Team Tommy Mac, a group of businesses that they're right there, man. They're always there for you. You see my J-Dog shirt, right? J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. They are veteran-owned and operated. I'm always happy to promote them and represent them. Lots to get into today, of course, a crazy weekend. We won't touch much on it, but you got to touch on it a second. Home Run Derby last night. Jacoby Jones passing away. T. Higgins going to play on the franchise tag, it looks like. Caleb Williams still without a contract. He's representing himself for the most part. Jordan Addison gets in a little trouble. We're also going to talk about, I saw this list from CBS Sports. I mean, it is the time, right? They have all these lists, charts, top tens, whatnot. This one was the top 10 offensive position groups in 2024. Interesting. I'll read through them. There's only 10 of them. And then I want to get into, or we're going to get into, what's the biggest question mark for our Jacksonville Jaguars going into 2024? Is it a position? Is it a player? Is it just whatever? What will it be going in? And part of that will be position battles, right? I'm interested to see how the three backers are going to line up. I don't know if we know that yet. Well, it'll be a very competitive thing out there. Who's my number one nickel? Who's my number one outside corner? Opposite Tyson Campbell, if it works out that way. We'll get into it in a little bit, but let's welcome in Grammage. Grammage, good morning to you, buddy. How you doing, my friend? I know you're up late playing college. What is it, college game day?
College football 25.
Is it 25? All right. Yeah. You know, I was in Madden 98, so I used to literally play Tom McManus.
I love it.
And play linebacker. Now, granted, I would always blitz, so I'd have all these sacks, but in the real games, I never had hardly any. Actually, I had zero as a Jaguar. But, yeah, that was a big release. I saw the numbers. Ridiculous amount of people playing that game last night.
I would have to imagine it's the biggest game drop that EA has ever done.
That EA has, yeah.
It's probably in the running for biggest video game drop ever.
Is it? What was Fortnite? Wasn't that a big one, or did that grow? I don't know. I know it's big.
Fortnite was big.
Yeah. Not a gamer per se.
But Fortnite wasn't really a drop. Fortnite kind of became a game and then grew in popularity, like you were saying.
Yep.
But like a lot of the Call of Duties were big drops.
Okay,
when they
Call
came
of
out
Duty,
and stuff
right?
like that.
Yep.
The
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Shooting, killing, and stealing. What a game.
Grand Theft Auto has some big drops for sure. But this game, the what made it so big was, back in the day when I was like growing up, like elementary, middle school, and I was playing video games with my buddies and stuff, I was always into sports games.
Yeah.
Everybody was a Madden guy or an NCAA guy. And they were pretty different to play.
That's right. Yeah.
And, Madden is obviously still chugging along.
Yep.
But when NCAA got sued in 2014 and they had to stop playing the game, that was 10 years ago now.
Wow.
So
it's been since then.
Right. So all of us NCAA guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been that long.
Yeah, see, I don't play. I'm not against them. I just don't sit there and play video games per se, but I did back in the day.
Yeah.
Tecmo Bowl was huge in college. I mean, I played that. I played what was it? It was soccer, US Cup or whatever. Me and Mike Cheever, it took us a year to win the title. We did that back when so when I was younger I played, but I haven't played the games in a long time, but I know that was a huge thing last night. Like I said, lots to get into. Just want to start off, man. Listen, I don't care where you sit on the line. It doesn't matter. I'm so thankful that little prick missed President Trump. Not happy, obviously, because he killed a man, a 50-year-old man with a family, which is absolutely awful. He wounded 2 others. Little coward piece of shit is what he is, of course. Obviously, he is already met the maker. God will deal with that. But look, man, you can't. Nobody can get assassinated. You just can't do it. Can't have. Can you imagine if he didn't miss the uproar? And it would be the same for President Biden if he was the one. And we don't want none of that. Just, I put some out there on Twitter. I had one guy already, how can you defend that monster? I'm like, you know what? Shut up. Like, literally, that's not the way to do it. You don't do it that way. So anyway, thoughts and prayers to everybody that's been injured. Of course, thoughts and prayers to the family who lost their daddy, who lost their husband just by going to a political rally. But whatever. I don't go to those things. I probably never would, probably never will. Not because of that, but just because that's not my style. But nonetheless, I pray to God every morning. I do pray for our country, man. I pray for just some calmness and togetherness, and we'll see if that happens. I don't know. That might be wishful thinking. I had an interesting thing over the weekend. A friend of mine asked if I would help a friend of his with their flag, and when I got over there, the person asked if we could hang it half-mast. I'm like, okay, whatever. If that's, I don't know what you're doing that for. It's not my business. And then I was asked, could you actually hang it upside down? And I said, I can't do that. I can't. And they did it. I left. I saw that they ended up doing it. I mean, that's freedom. That's your freedom to do that. But I could never do that. I mean, to me, that is such a, that's just awful thing to do. What that flag represents to me is, soldiers like my dad who fought for this country for our freedom. I mean, all the wars, all the military. I mean, to me, anyway, that was an interesting thing. I came home. I'm like, I can't believe I was just asked to do that. But I said no. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. I was telling Grammage, I've been watching this sports documentary on Netflix, Sprint. I think it's called. Is it Sprint or Speed? I think it's Sprint. I throw them both down. We'll have to look it up. I've been watching it. I'll be in the episode 4. Let me tell you something. This documentary is unbelievable. And you know how I feel about speed. I would, to be able to run that fast must be so incredible. The men's side led by Noah Lyles, women's side led by Sha'Carri Richardson. She's a gas, but she is funny. She's little and she's cute, and she can haul ass. And it's fun to watch because they go back and forth. They think they start in like 20. Well, they do some, back to 2021 and that kind of thing, just to reminisce about different sprinters that have gone through. Man, one guy from England, he false started like 3 different times, major events, and you're out. There's only one false start allowed. So even the Olympics, he was the Olympic hopeful for England, and he false started in the 100. I mean, think about that. But he came back, and he ended up doing okay in the 200. Noah Lyles he's fun to watch. It's fun because they take you through the championships leading you up to the Summer Olympic Games, which are going to be coming up in no time. So I don't know. I would suggest you look at it because you do get to know them, and they're great. I mean, and it's intense. They lead you right up to the race. I mean, they make you feel kind of like quarterback, like you're right there. They make you feel like you're actually standing at the starting line, looking down and watching them come off the blocks and listening to the coaches. Michael Johnson's in it a ton, the different coach. I don't know, man. To me, it's phenomenal. The 200, Noah Lyles is like, man, that's my wife, man. Nobody's beating me in the 200. And it's unbelievable how they come around that. And if you've run the 200 right now, you know how exciting that race is, man. You come around the corner and it's that just straight 110 yards, and you got to belt it out. And anyway, check it out. I thought it was pretty awesome. I did not watch the home run derby last night. I did see the Dodgers player won it. I know they were cranking them out, but I don't know that. It's funny. I don't watch that, but I watched Wimbledon on Sunday, believe it or not. I didn't watch the whole thing. Djokovic just got, is it Djokovic? It's Djokovic, right?
Djokovic, yeah.
He got killed. I mean, he hung on in the last set, but that young kid from Spain was absolutely insane. I know he had the knee injury and whatnot, but whatever. That was pretty impressive. So I'll sit there and watch tennis, but only if it's like Wimbledon. No disrespect to them. I don't watch any of them. I don't watch it. But it is a slow-paced game. Kind of like the home run derby. To me, it's a little slow for me. If I was there, I'd be totally into it, drinking beers and, wow, look at that, But anyway, I didn't catch it last night. Did see where Jacoby Jones passed away. What sad, 40 years old, at his home. I don't think details are out yet. God bless his family. God bless him. Obviously, he didn't play against Jacoby, but 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. Very beloved. You see all the tributes coming out about him. What a great guy he was. Great teammate, great player. Just what a shame. I'm sure news will come out with what's going on there. But he was quite the player, no doubt.
One of the most fun. One of the players I had the most fun watching that didn't play for any of my teams.
Mm-hmm.
Devin Hester, I think, is number one on that list.
Yeah, Devin. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's always returners, like explosive guys like that.
Yeah. Who can take it to the house on any given play? That's the one set that fit that category.
Jacoby Jones as a player was everything that Ted Ginn Jr., I think, was supposed to be in the league.
Yeah. Good call. Yeah.
Because Ted Ginn Jr. was good.
He was.
Jacoby Jones was really good.
Well, I think I don't know. To me, for me, it felt like Ted Ginn Jr., they kept trying to prove that he was a wide receiver, not just a return man. Well, where Jacoby was like, I'm a return man and I'm a receiver, but my main gig is returning.
Well, he was so perfect on that Ravens team.
Yeah.
Because that Ravens team, they had Torrey Smith.
Yep.
Who was a good
wide receiver.
He was kind of a do-all receiver.
Yep.
I want to say they had a good tight end, if I remember. And they could run the ball.
Heap? Is that too late? Todd Heap?
I think it was after Heap. I think it was after Heap and before Andrews. I feel like there's somebody in there.
Yeah, there is.
But
there is.
But they had those guys.
Yeah.
And
so they didn't necessarily need him as a wideout.
No, and he wasn't really a full
Miami
kind of guy.
Yeah.
But he was so fast that he was just burn you down the field type. And Flacco has one of the biggest arms,
no doubt,
the league has ever seen.
Yeah,
to be honest,
he can hit it on stride.
Flacco can uncork that thing, man.
No doubt.
75 out. He will watch that
without a doubt.
It was so perfect for a guy like Jacoby Jones. He was so fast, but he went off in that Super Bowl.
Yeah, he did.
Man, he was fun to watch. Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, man, like that's childhood memories. Right
and he
there.
went to Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was still good
about him. Yeah, man. Such a shame. Young age, man. 40 years old.
You remember he caught that crazy Hail Mary pass against the Browns, I want to say? I forgot who it was against.
I don't know if I remember that. When he was a Texan?
No, but when he was a Raven.
When he was with a Raven?
I think it was in the year that they went to the Super Bowl.
I don't know if I recall that.
Yeah.
I remember him scoring 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. That was humongous.
Yeah, and it was like a 98-yard kickoff. No, it was more than that. He was in the end zone. It was like 104 or something, and then had the big touchdown. He was so much fun to watch, man.
No doubt about that. Speaking of wide receivers, T. Higgins will play on the franchise tag. It'll pay him $21.8 million. Of course, considered one of the better wide receivers in the game, so he'll play on that. Sounds like from what Zach Taylor, the head coach, has said, he's handled it perfectly. We're excited to have him back. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to play, right? Or you don't. So you play, make the 21.8, and hopefully they don't franchise tag you again next year. But and maybe they can't. I don't know how many times they've done T, but T. Higgins will play for the Bengals under the franchise tag. Caleb Williams still hasn't signed his contract, eve of training camp for the rookies. He's doing it himself. He's got his attorney. He's got advisors, no agent, no official agent. It shouldn't be that difficult to figure out a rookie contract right now. If he wants it all guaranteed, I'm sure they figure that out, right? Depends on the points. I know no trade or whatever. I'm not a contract attorney. But I don't know. Do you need an agent when you're the number 1 pick in the draft?
Yeah, I mean,
you should probably still have an agent. I mean, one that's done it. You know what I mean? That's handled top of the draft kind of. That's what I'd want if I'm Caleb Williams. Like, what's your experience dealing with first picks or second picks or top 5? Give me top 5. I guess I know where you got some experience there. So,
well, and wouldn't someone like Caleb Williams want an agent for endorsement deals? That's what I thought was weird about it. Because you're not wrong about the rookie contract.
Yeah, it's slotted.
It's pretty much what it's going to be.
Right.
For the most part, there's not a lot that even an agent would be able to wiggle. So for that,
there's some wording and stuff like that. I think offset language, that.
But for someone like Caleb Williams that has endorsement deals, all over the place, wouldn't you want an agent looking over that? Because that language is very all over the place. So
I would imagine he's probably got some marketing people.
That just kind of handle that, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, you look at like Jalen Hurts, right? He's got all women on his team, But he's got an agent. He's got a marketing person. He's got a social media. He's got all these things, or women. I shouldn't say things. These women that are handling his business side of things. So
if I mean, I'd have to be in that situation, obviously, to like really make the call. But I feel like if I was in that situation, I'd want a full team like Jalen Hurts personally.
Yeah. Oh, I would too, especially at that. I mean,
I don't know. I just feel like these people are professionals at a certain thing for a reason. Yeah. You obviously want to hire qualified people and make sure you got a good team around you. But to me, when I make millions and millions and millions, I'm willing to get. I know it's a lot of money still, because it's big percent. It's small percentages, big dollars.
Yep.
I'm willing to give away 2%, 3%, whatever.
Yeah, just to be protected.
To make sure everybody around me, to make sure that my squad is like strong. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You got to have a couple moles, I would think. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money. People are people, you got to make sure they don't take from you, and make sure they take care of you. I saw where, Antonio Pierce, right? He signed some personal guarantees on real estate loans that went default, and he's the head coach of the Oakland Raiders, being sued for like $20 million. There were 2 deals that he personally guaranteed. You should never personally guarantee a loan, ever. Corporate guarantees one thing. A personal one, that means they come after you personally. Never, ever should do that. And he got stuck. So you got to be careful, right? Like, I know that happened with my good friend Mark Brunell. That was, he did these personal guarantees. And nobody said, hey, you shouldn't do the personal guarantee. Let somebody else do it if there needs to be one. Why do you have to do it? You shouldn't do it. Anyways, it's just got to make sure you're taken care of.
That gets back to why, in my opinion, it's wise to have a lot of people around you that are hired to help you with those kinds of things. Because a lot of former athletes, I mean, you grew up playing ball. That's what you did. Like, you obviously got an education most likely, but it might have been in a different field or whatever. Like, there's a good chance you're not going to know that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So if you have someone with you that's what they do, that's their profession,
right?
They're going to be able to tell you, don't personally guarantee.
Care about you. Like the people that helped me, I knew and they still do. They loved me. They cared about me. They're not going to let anything happen to me, and anything bad happen. And I can still go to them today if I needed to. Which let's hope I don't ever have to, Grammage. That'd be nice. That would be absolutely nice. All right, which leads me into the CBS Sports ranking top 10 offensive position groups in 2024. An interesting list. We'll go through it. Our Jaguars are not on it, so So, and the only groups that are represented are wide receivers, running backs, and 1 offensive line. So they ranked the top 10 position, like different position groups, offensive position groups in 2024. Number 10 are the Bears wide receivers. Speaking of Caleb Williams and who he's going to be throwing to. Bears wide receivers, DJ Moore, of course, Keenan Allen coming over, Kmet, the tight end, and others. The thing with Caleb, it's like any QB. Can he handle the pressure? Can he handle the pounding? He's going to get hit. You cannot keep any rookie upright for very long. You can't keep a lot of QBs upright for very long. The guys that did it best were Brady and Manning, and they would fall down when you were about to hit them because they knew they were dead. There was no guy that they were supposed to go to. He's not there. Here you come. I'm just going to fall down and not even try to make a play. I'll live for another down, but you're going to get smashed. And, look, your wide receivers can help. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to Caleb Williams. Kenny, that's the biggest thing, I think, when college to pro, if you had to pick it. The windows do get smaller. The speed's way, it's more complex. But you get beat a lot worse in the NFL than you do in college as a QB. You get hit a lot more, And it's brutal. You see it here locally. You see it all across the league. It can be very brutal. You saw it on quarterback, even with veterans, with Kirk Cousins, the pounding he took for the Vikings when they filmed that documentary. You're almost like, holy shit, that is like, man, every week he's got something new. And then he's got multiple things. But nonetheless, we'll see there. Number 9, people aren't going to be happy, but Titans wide receivers. Now, granted, they grabbed Calvin Ridley and Tyler Boyd, right? So Tyler Boyd's, look, he's one of those slot guys that fitted in the right system. he can do some damage. Again, it's going to come down to who? Levis. Can Will Levis play the game at a high level? Can he deliver the rock? And they got D-Hop, obviously, but can he deliver the rock?
And their offensive line, too,
and their O-line,
is still a question mark. They drafted their left tackle.
Bears O-line, I know they addressed it, and they weren't. Fields got killed last year too. Our guy got killed. It's hard. It's harder to keep him clean. But go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say they drafted their left tackle in the draft.
They did
in the top 10.
The kid from. It wasn't the kid from Notre. No, it was the Notre Dame kid because someone went ahead of the Notre Dame kid. The tackle from the Penn State. Who jumped ahead of him? Fashanu? Somebody jumped ahead of Alt. Yeah. Alt was supposed to be the Titans pick. Yeah. Somebody jumped ahead, but nonetheless, they did address it. Let's see. Number 8, Seahawks wide receivers, of course, led by DK Metcalf. Number 7, the Eagles wide receivers. Of course, they've got some pretty sick weapons. The Dolphins wide receivers, number 6, with Ty and Waddle. And Mechie's out in Houston. Houston's gonna be a problem. They look good on paper. We don't know. We don't know how that's gonna work out. And throwing Stroud into that mix. By the way, we haven't gotten to Houston yet. They are on this list. Bengals wide receivers. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. You can see why they're at number 5. Dolphins running backs at number 4. How about that? Mostert's down there, of course. I'm trying to think who else down there that would make you feel that great about their running backs. Lions running backs are there. They're a beast.
The Dolphins have Devon A-Chain as well.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's a beast.
From A&M.
Total beast. And Lions, too, are unbelievable.
Yeah, that's obvious.
They are incredible. Lions O-line comes in at number 2. Led by Panay
That's right.
Sewell.
That's about right. By the way,
that's the only O-line in the top 10.
So, who's making these lists you're reviewing?
This is CBS Sports ranks the top 10 offensive position groups in 2024.
So I don't want to speak for the writer that actually ranked.
I don't even know who wrote it, to be honest with you.
But a lot of people, when you rewind the clocks a year ago, were clowning the Lions for taking Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, you're right.
Clowning them.
They were.
And as a big college football guy myself,
he is dynamite.
I watched how ridiculously good that guy was. He could catch the ball. He could run. I'm like, no, that pick is worth it. Mm-hmm. And now they've got
flies. He's like lightning in a bottle, man. He's unbelievable. They got a nice 1-2 punch.
David Montgomery's a beast. Really good.
Oh, yeah.
Probably one of the most underrated backs in the game, in my opinion. But if they don't have the electricity of Jahmyr Gibbs, that's not the backfield that it was.
Right. It's a nice 1-2.
Jahmyr Gibbs in space is
no doubt.
There's a very short list of guys ahead of him
that can handle him. Totally agree with that. Who do you think's the number 1 top offensive position group in 2024, courtesy of CBS Sports? Who do you think? Jag fans are going to love this, let me tell you. The Titans wide receivers are at number 9.
The top, so I can choose from backs, receivers, and line.
It's a receiver. It's a
receiving duo.
Yeah, it's not just a duo; it's a group. Whoever they have.
So as you said, the Bengals are already taken. The Texans.
Yeah, Texans number 1. Could at least according to CBS Sports, it's only one opinion, but let's see. You got Tank Dell, Nico Collins, right, and then you've got Stephon Diggs. Right? Do I got them all? They might have one more that's a Blazer. But that's going to come down to Stroud, man. It feels like that's everything. Comes down to the QB. Unless, look, there are teams like Cleveland, right, that their defense really held up for them. But then you look, Flacco played pretty well overall, especially coming off the couch. But at the end of the day, your quarterback's got to perform at a big level, at a high level. And that's what you think about. You think about all these groups. You go to the quarterback. How are they going to do? Yeah, I'd like to just throw it to DK Metcalf and watch him work. No doubt about it. Absolutely. But you got to make sure that you can still get that done. And who do they got? Sam Howell and then Geno up in Seattle. I mean, Geno's good. Geno's solid. He can win with Geno. But it's going to come down to that. Geno also can plunge, like a lot of them can. You've seen it. We've seen the quarterback play.
We've seen this for
up and down.
We've seen this for forever, and we've talked about it on the show before. Like, there's your elite guys, obviously. There's probably like a tier behind that of like really good guys.
Yeah. And
then there's this gigantic tier of guys that if they're protected and you have a good play caller, will thrive. And if they're not protected, they'll look awful.
Yeah.
There's a humongous tier of that.
Yeah.
I would argue that almost every, especially now because there's typically only 2 quarterbacks to keep on the active roster. I would argue that probably all 32 backups, if you protect them and you give them a clean line, will look, at least for a couple games, will look as good as any given starter in the league.
Almost, yes.
The biggest, the Kirk Cousins stuff we just talked about, that's what separates.
Yep.
Can you stand in there, get hit, get abused in the pocket, and still make plays, or are you mobile enough to make those electric plays on your feet?
Yeah, to protect yourself.
That's what distinct. Like that's what makes Pat Mahomes so good.
Listen, what have we been talking for years with Trevor? The Trevor ball. When he takes off and runs and gets a first down, that's an added weapon to what he brings to the table, man. I always encourage that because I think it just gets you into the flow.
And he has shown almost to a fault a willingness to stand in there, get hit, deliver the throw. Toughness has never been.
No, he's very,
all these critiques, there's
awareness.
There's plenty of relevant and very fair critiques on Trevor. Toughness never been one of them.
No, definitely not. I saw another thing where they ranked, I think it was ESPN, was it? They ranked the QBs. Hey, Trevor like 16, middle of the pack, top of one tier or something like that. I think he'll move up. I do. But, look, I think we do. I think as fans, we think like, I don't know, let me say this. Like Trevor and Josh didn't automatically get better because they got these deals done. You know what I mean? They didn't become better players.
100%.
Right? We hope that they continue to, Josh has got to have another year like last year, right? You get paid that kind of money, at least close. We need that every year. We need that consistent kind of play. You're talking defensive player of the year. It's consistency, right? Like you did last year. And he did. Because Trevor got paid like a number one. He hasn't played that high, and we all know that. He has at times. Everyone gets their butts in an uproar about it, but it'll work itself out this year and where he lands. I think he'll have a good year. But you do, look, it's going to come down to having an offensive play-calling system that is beneficial to Trevor, okay? And again, we've been through, I don't really care who calls the plays, but that's got to be. Right, whether it's quick throws, whether it's making sure he can get to number 2, whether the timing of the run game's good, and his awareness is better. He's got a better awareness. We know this. All right, let's get into some Jaguar talk because that'll lead right into it. What's the biggest question mark for our Jaguars going into 2024? Brought to you by Team Tommy Mac. J-Dog Junk Removal right here. Make sure if you're in the hauling world, you need some construction debris taken care of, call 844-GET-J-Dog. They are veteran-owned and operated, and get it done with integrity, and you can trust them, no question about it. Another guy you can trust is Chris Lucero and his bail bonds team, 904-822-2244. Put it in your phone. I'm just telling you right now, you don't want to get in trouble. This kid, Jordan Addison, got in trouble. Suspicion of DUI. Probably got retained, whatnot. You get him out of jail quick. You get him home. Get him safe. Figure it out. But the first part is get him home safe and sound. And Chris Lucero's bail bonds team does just that. Graffiti American Burger Bar. I tell you what, man, the crowds keep getting bigger and bigger. Great place to watch all your sporting events. Phenomenal menu. Their wings are incredible. The McManus Burger is absolutely delightful. Make sure you check that out. Of course, it's a big patty of beef, some Swiss cheese, and avocado and bacon. It's really tasty, man. Absolutely incredible. Michael Nickus' State Farm Agency. He's been my agent for over 20 years. He should be your agent as well. Home, life, auto, and supplemental health. Him and his team ready to take care of you any given time that you need them. Of course, Family Tradition Specialty Foods. Home of Coconut Joe's Hot Sauce. If you follow me on Instagram, Tom_55, I think it is, you'll see that I had a little bit of their sriracha this weekend over some eggs. It was absolutely incredible. I'm not a huge hot sauce guy, but I'm really digging Coconut Joe's, man. Make sure when you get to your where you check it out on their website, FamilyTraditionsSpecialtyFoods.com. Make sure you put pound Team Tommy Mac in the discount code and get a BOGO free, courtesy of just being a part of this show. Carbon Man Flooring, more than just LVP, baby. Luxury vinyl planking. It's carpet, it's tile, it's hardwood. Anything you lay down on the floors, they get it. The highest quality at the lowest prices. Azar Sausage, homegrown and down home. They are always part of our weekly menu. I will say that at the McManus house, whether in your whether in your favorite dish or in a bun, Azar Sausage is the one. Yeah, you can take that to the bank. Code Ninjas, great schooling for our kids. 4 great locations. They just had a black belt celebration. I mean, these kids getting their certifications and going out into the real world and being able to work. It's an unbelievable program for your kids. Get them into, they start them as early as 5 years of age. Check them out, Code Ninjas. They got 4 great locations to take care of you, and then Salt Air Inn and Suites, courtesy of Beach Life Rentals. I tell you what a great place to stay for the night, for the weekend, for the week. If you're out of town, come to Atlantic Beach and enjoy the great restaurants, bars, and of course, the beach and shopping, and you can do it by staying at Salt Air Inn and Suites Boutique Hotel with concierge service. Of course, great to be a part of the 1010 XL team. That's pound Team Tommy Mac for you, always there when you need them. Make sure you click on their handles when I promote them, please. I do appreciate that. All right, biggest question mark for the Jaguars going into 2024. This is what I wrote down, Grammage. Let me tell you, let me see what you think's like the highest thing, priority, or question mark. And question mark could be maybe not a question mark, but a position battle, right? Like, is Darby going to be my right corner? Or is one of these young kids, is Jarian Jones going to beat him out? Or is Jarian Jones going to be your starting nickel, right? Things like that. So I started with, and I think it's going to be good, but I started with, who's my 4th defensive lineman starter? Who's going to take that 4th spot in base, right? I'm not talking when they go to nickel and that kind of thing. In base to stop the run. Is it going to be Mason Smith? Is it going to be Jordan Jefferson? Or is it going to be Devon Hamilton or somebody else, like maybe Ledbetter? I don't know. But I think that's a key component of this defense. I like what I look. I'm really looking forward to seeing the rookies, without a doubt. And I'm looking forward to seeing that Devon can get back to better play when he was healthy. And maybe not out of shape. Hopefully he's in great shape. And that's, I don't mean like he's not a worker. I mean, when you're not playing football and then you're thrown into the football field, it's hard to you don't just get into football shape. You got to play and practice to get into that kind of shape. But to me, that's one of them. Another one is, again, starting corners and nickel. Who are they? I'm looking forward to seeing these battles. It's going to be great. So maybe the question mark's not the question, but just the battle. Okay, here is a question mark, though. Can the O-line stay healthy? And do we have enough quality depth to fill the void when they do get injured, if they get injured? And then can Trevor carry the team? That's another one, in my opinion. Sometimes he's going to have to. The best do. You're paid like the best. You got to play like the best. You got to carry the team from time to time. You got to carry the offense. Things break it down. Doesn't matter. You're so good that things are still working, because you make everybody around you better. Can he carry the team? And my final one, which I think, to me, overall, number one, have the Jaguars changed? Has their mentality changed? Has their psyche changed? Are they back to being the team they were in 2022, where nobody really looked at them? They were humble. They were hungry. They believed in each other. They went on a run that was incredible. Can they get back to that? Because 2023, they didn't have that. I've been through that. They didn't handle the success very well. But in 2024, what team is going to be there Is it going to be a gritty team, a physical team, a tough team, a team that can overcome adversity on the field, off the field, during the game, what have you? That's what we got to find out. And that may be the biggest question. How about you, Grammage? What would you throw out there? Would you throw anything out there in addition to anybody else you're concerned about or maybe question?
The fourth D lineman is a great point that I hadn't really thought of.
I mean, they're going to rotate.
Yeah,
I get that, but you need a stud to help Eric on that big, in the interior of that defensive line.
Well, I hope that one guy gets to where he gets a lion's share of the rotation.
Yeah.
Right? Where he starts that position and it gets to a point. Like I really hope it's Mason Smith because he's a highly invested in draft pick. I hope that halfway through the season, Roy, Jordan Jefferson, those guys are coming in to give Mason a blow, as opposed to they're rotating pretty evenly because none of them have really. You see what I'm saying?
I do. But let me throw another scenario because I haven't seen them yet. Only what I've seen when I watched LSU, which wasn't a ton. But what if Jordan Jefferson's the guy because he's just more ready to play, and then Smith comes off and he's such a physical freak that it's going to freak out that guard or center. You know what I mean?
Almost like a Trayvon kind of thing.
Almost like a change of pace back. Like I know from defending a thumper compared to, here comes a scat. We used to call them scat backs because they were so quick, right?
Yeah.
You'd have the pounder, and then like Dave Meggett was a scat back for the Patriots. When he came out, I mean, he was a zip, 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 right? As opposed to, a Curtis Martin who had a lot of speed, don't get me wrong, but he wasn't, Mr. Shifty in the open field, more powerful and fast and then quick and zippy, if you will. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that. Like, here I go against Jordan, who's, by the way, very physical, big guy. He's going to pound you, don't get me wrong. I think Mason Smith, though, is just a notch physically above that. I mean, like, holy cow, this guy's like, what am I going to do with this guy?
It's like when they would put Arden Key on a guard on third downs when he was on the Jags.
Similar to that.
To pass rush. It's just it's a mismatch, and it's not something you've gotten used to over the course of the game. And now it's 3rd and 7, and this really quick guy is teeing off on you, and he's cooking a guard type. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Either way, they're going to both contribute. I'll tell you what, I said this before. I've always liked LSU defensive linemen. They always seem to have guys that come out of there that end up like Marcus Spears type. I know nobody really likes him as an analyst, but Booger was a phenomenal D lineman, going back, of course. But it always seems that they had some just big, physical, tough, athletic defensive linemen. And I think Mason Smith and Jordan Jefferson, I think they fit that bill.
LSU,
we need that. We need that up front.
LSU right now has probably the most talented front seven player in the country.
Is that right?
Harold Perkins.
Okay.
He'll be a top 10 pick next year. But anyway, that's for next year.
But I always look at LSU like you always know what?
Yeah, I agree.
That they're athletic and that their D-lines are pretty big. Their O-lines are, you know what I mean? They're just big athletic people and teams, and they get after it.
It's
so I always feel like that coming out of LSU.
It's like the Alabama wide receiver thing of late.
Yeah.
It seems like every Bama wide receiver that comes out is a beast.
LSU had that for a while with Odell, right?
Yep, 100%. Well, the LSU still does.
That's true.
Yeah. Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. Yeah. That's probably the two best receivers in football besides Tyreek Hill. So, okay, but you're right. Yeah, I agree. My other big question that I think you wanted to get into anyways, I'm really curious to see how the starters shake out at corner outside of Tyson Campbell.
Yep.
I know Tyson Campbell's one outside starting corner. I know that.
He should be. You would think.
If he's not, we really got issues.
Well, no, if he's not, then maybe they drafted really well. That's the only guys that are going to beat him out. It's not going to be – who else is going to beat him out? It's not Buster Brown. Beat him out. No. I don't think Darby's a threat to Tyson Campbell.
No.
It's really – I don't think anyone's really a threat unless he's not healthy. That's different.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Something's wrong if he's not starting at outside corner day one. But if I had to guess today and I had to put money on who my 3 starting corners are going to be day one, if I had to guess today, I would say Tyson's one outside, Ronald Darby's the other outside, and Jarron Jones is going to be my starting nickel day one. I think.
Yep.
Is that probably the least set in stone position in terms of starters?
For starters, yeah. I think so. Well, and the Sam. Like, how are my backers lining up? In base. I think we know who the two are. It's going to be Lloyd and Aluakin, unless, again, Ventrell Miller can really cover.
But who's the third?
Who's the third back?
We've already talked about this offseason, but man, how nice would it be if Ventrell could play that Sam and you could move Lloyd to Will?
Well, Lloyd's been a Will.
Okay.
Yeah. He's been the Will since he got here.
So would he move?
Remember, they played a 3-4 anyway.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Sorry. You're right. But I'm thinking, in my mind, I'm thinking back to the 2017 team when they had a 4-3.
Yep.
And Miles Jack was the Sam, because Lesney was your Mike, and Telvin was your Will.
Yep.
And Telvin was just so. Lloyd is Telvin-ish in terms of how he plays, in my opinion. So what if Lloyd could?
Yeah, I don't know. Telvin was special.
He's not as good as he is right now, but I'm saying
Telvin could run, I think, a lot fast. Not a lot faster, but faster than Telvin.
But something that made Telvin so good in that system was the other two guys took care of a lot of the base stuff, and you let Telvin go make plays.
Well, that's what Will's set up to do. And the Mike, too. The Mike's got to take on more blockers, but the Will set up, they're usually covered. They want you to use that speed and athletic ability to go make a play.
And I think Lloyd is fit for that. That's all I was saying. But I guess
Miller could be fit for it too. You know? I mean, I know how he's a Gator. I know, but when he hasn't played in a while, I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting because I saw where I know Demetrius Harvey had a 53. He did not have Abdullah on the team at all. And then I saw one today, I think, I forget who it was, but it was on Twitter. Maybe one of the Jaguar channels, not the official Jaguar channels, but one of the channels. They have Abdullah making it as a linebacker. Unless he can really play base, I don't know how Abdullah sees the field. I mean, I don't know. He didn't see it last year at all.
And this is a little bit, not nearly as bad because they didn't make the investment in Abdullah they did in Chason, but it's a little bit like the Chason thing in terms of like if every offseason we're wondering what position he plays, that probably means things aren't going well.
Yeah.
I mean, how college this is different. Because college you have a lot more raw athleticism that you have to kind of materialize into a player.
Yeah.
In the NFL, man, it's very, very, very rare that you're giving somebody a full-on position change or moving them around and it works out well.
That's like Junior Seau, and that's 1 in a million.
Right.
Because he could jump anywhere he wanted.
And that almost never it's like when there's an athletic quarterback that comes in and they make him a receiver. That never works, man.
No, right. Hardly ever.
Well, and with Chason, it was, he comes in and he's a defensive end in a 4-3 at first, and then it's like, well, he needs to be in a 3-4, and then he's gonna be better. And then it's like that if you're having to constantly change positions, that probably means you're not good enough at one position to excel and stay on the field.
Well, that was a classic case of we can make him into something. He's so athletic. Correct. He's big for a backer. He's strong. He's fast. He's athletic. We'll make him into something. Even from the get-go, I was like, he's out of position. He was never that player. I'd have tried him at will. I would have. Back then. I wouldn't now, but I would have. You still blitz from will. That's a beautiful thing, man. Blitzing from off ball when you're 5-4 yards back and they don't see it coming, that is an incredibly great weapon to have.
Especially when you got some speed like that.
Speed, yeah. And we have it. We have it with Aluakin. We have it with Lloyd. Those guys both. And I want to see more of them blitzing. I don't think Caldwell called their blitz number enough. And by the way, look, when you can't stop the run, you got to call run blitzes. You do. You got to try something different. You got to try to shake it up. Get guys shooting gaps, making that, that lineman have to get out of his, lane that he's supposed to be, whatever it may be. So you have a better chance to stop that back. So, but I do think back to the linebacker. That's not a question mark because I think it's going to be fine, but it's a position battle. I'm really interested to seeing how it shakes down. My biggest concern, I think for me, is if the O-line isn't healthy, okay, who's coming in? Okay, Morse gets, knock on wood for all of them. Morse goes down. Is Fortner our center again? I know people are high on Cooper Hodges, but you don't know shit about Cooper Hodges. You don't. He's only been in practice, and I don't want to go Allen Iverson on you, but it is just practice. We haven't seen him in a game. We haven't seen him in live action. We haven't seen him against another team that he knows nothing about. He looks the part. I agree. He's interesting. High motor, athletic. Could he play center? Could he play guard? Maybe, but we don't know that for sure. Walker, can he hold down the fort for a couple? Sure, but can he hold down the fort for 10 games? 8? 6? I don't know. Who knows? We just don't know. You hope none of them get hurt. But what's your backup? Is it Blake Hance? Is he my next? What if Sheriff goes down?
I bet it's.
What if Ezra and Sheriff get dinged up for a game? These things happen.
Yeah, they do. It happened last year. I believe with the offensive line. First of all, I think, and I don't want to make excuses for him because I'm not saying that he's not accountable for not having taken charge of something in the time that he's been here. But I do think that they have made a mistake with moving Walker Little as much as they have.
You mean from right to left and left to right?
Right to left, guard.
Yeah.
And I think it's made it very hard on him to actually accept. If he's a backup, then he's a backup. But let him be a backup at a position.
Right.
Swing tackle, I think, is fine.
That's fine.
Guard was when. I mean, he did not play well as a guard, but he's never played guard in his life. It's like so. My personal belief is if the starting five is all performing up to par and they're performing well when they are all healthy and all five are having good years individually, then I think they are a pretty deep O-line because then you like what you have at your starters. If one of your guards go down, I think your swing guard is going to be Shatley.
Okay.
Your backup center.
Shatley could do it.
I agree.
He could definitely do it.
Solid.
I would not let. I saw somebody had him off. Was it Demetrius had him off the 53? I'm like, man, I would not.
No chance. He'll make the team, in my opinion.
No, he's my gamer. Ahead of all the others, Cooper, all of them. He's first, in my opinion.
I agree.
If I need him. And by the way, center, too.
I would make.
He could play center. I think he played center at college. He played center here for a little bit, didn't he?
I
agree. Could play center.
Yep. And then with Walker as my swing tackle, I'm comfortable.
Right.
I think that's a better swing tackle than probably most teams in the NFL have.
Physically.
But
athletically.
Where this becomes problematic is like if Sheriff's not playing well, Cleveland's not playing well.
Right.
Maybe Cam's having maybe Mitch is not what they paid him to be. Like, if the starting five are individually not what they're all supposed to be, and you start relying on these backups, even without injury, then there's problems, in my opinion.
Unless the backups fill the void, which I question whether they can.
Yeah.
It's backups could fill the void. I'm biased. I was a backup. I had to fill the void. I filled the void. Was I a star player? No. But I played a lot of football, started a lot of football in my short career. And
not a single person in the stands or on the sideline or whatever when you went in was like, oh, God, we're screwed.
Well, I had to prove that. I'm sure when I first went in, they're like, "Oh, who is this?"
But you know what I mean when you got your career off the ground, like,
yeah, no.
But I'm telling you right now, and I agree with you that if Morse went down, I would put Shatley at center. But I'm telling you right now, they're going to put Fortner at center if Morse goes down. They still invested
He's a third-round pick.
I promise.
There's politics in it.
They're giving him every chance to.
They're hoping he turns it around. I'm hoping he turns it around.
Yeah.
And just being better, being more physical, being more grittier, whatever your game needs. I hope you worked on it all off season. I hope the signing of Morse ticked you off where you're like, you're ready to get after it. I will give, look, that whole, like from Cam to Ezra, Morse, Sheriff and Anton, they've never played together. And in this system of zone blocking, it is imperative that they get to know each other because they are supposed to, it's not like man is like you got pegs going after men. Zone blocking, you got like almost the five, not always, but in general, you're thinking the five are moving together, right? And then my back's making his cut wherever it may be. Front side, up the middle, you know what I mean? Or back. So there is something to that, playing together in a zone blocking scheme where you're all in the same timing with the back and everything. That when that changes, when different players go in here, there, and you're kind of a hodgepodge of an offensive line. That's when you struggle. in that kind of thing. Now, if it was man, maybe it's a little different because now you're telling your guard, like, okay, bang him and then go get the backer. You know what I mean? You don't have to, it's almost like they want to hold hands while they go together, and then when they engage, they let go. You know what I mean? It's unison. That's a zone blocking scheme. It's supposed to be in unison.
It works beautifully in Philly.
Yeah. But they were physical, too. They're incredibly so you got to be. That's my point. I think, I don't know. And we'll see. Reset, right? There's one thing about being a zone blocking team and just kind of finessing your way through. You just get in the way of people. It's still violent, don't get me wrong, but it's not like you're looking to really get them on the ground and bury them in. You just want to get them out of the way so my back's up and through, and then maybe I can go help them down the field a little bit because I'm athletic enough to do that. You got to be very athletic in the zone block. They are very athletic. There's no doubt. Ezra Cleveland's one of the more athletic guards you've seen. I mean, at 6'6", whatever he is, he can really pull. He can really move. I don't know how.
Lineman.
What's that?
He's a Doug lineman.
Yeah.
And his own line.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's hope that does come together, but that would concern me. And then, look, just back to Trev, it's just, got to carry the team, man. Got to carry the team. And he's got the tools to do it. They gave him the weapons to do it. And then hopefully the line will allow him to do it because that goes hand in hand, as we all know. And then, like I said earlier, to me, it's more about the psyche than anything. And that's the job of Doug, to get them ready, to make sure that they are well prepared, they are well motivated, they stay humble yet hungry, and it's for an entire, 30 weeks, 25 weeks. We're starting this week or next week, right? All the way through Super Bowl. Hopefully they can get there. We'll have more on it, of course, throughout the week. I'll be back on Friday after Jaguars Today, doing the horse's mouth this week as well on Thursday, and then Jaguars Today Friday from 10 to noon. Me and Grammage will figure out what time we do this show. I want to thank everybody who came out to Culhane's in Atlantic Beach on Friday night. Dad Bods had one of their best shows, I think. We're getting pretty tight. We got more venues coming up. We're going to be playing at, we're playing at the Local in September out in Atlantic Neptune Beach. We're playing at Beach Bowl in November out on that upstairs patio deck in November. So that'll be fun at Beach Bowl. And I'll let you know when we play again anywhere else. I know we're back at Iggy's out in Fruit Cove and a couple other places throughout Jacksonville. So looking forward to bringing you rock and roll, baby. It lives forever. Thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate you all on Facebook watching live, and appreciate all of you out there listening and watching, however you listen and watch your favorite podcast, and I greatly appreciate all the support. Brought to you by Team Tommy Mac, part of the 1010XL family. Until next time, stay safe and be cool out there. We'll see you right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac. Peace and love.